Without getting into a deep philosophical discussion about identity, we can start a practical and social definition of the self in terms of the I, or the self that looks out upon its world and environment. Without context or self-awareness, this I is simply the observer. It is only when the self is reflected back, as through a literal or figurative mirror, that the I takes on a simultaneous form, the me. In the concept of me, we begin to learn where we begin and where we end, our place within the context of our environment and social roles. This interaction is inherently reflexive, as posited by the ancient Greeks. Infants and toddlers begin to learn about those around them, depending on parents for care, and they also learn how their behavior, such as crying, smiling, or pointing, can express meaning and change apparent outcomes. But it's not just mirrors that reflect us. It is every individual that responds to our behavior and reacts in a particular way. In these reflections and messages, we also begin to define ourselves through the viewpoint of others. Every interaction is a point of possible revision as we reflect on who we are, what we want, and who we would like to be. This process defines the me, and we tend to live into this role as the social actor, until that is, we realize that we also have the power to refine this role. As we mature, we begin to act with direction and purpose, not only out of instinct, but also towards self-chosen values and objectives. These shifts typically happen in development phases during childhood, where we not only conceive of others' motivations, but also learn the power of our own. Thus forms the self as a motivated agent, where we begin to realize the choices that we have to not only pursue objectives, but to also fundamentally change or refine the self. Gradually, we realize the power that we have to manifest change in ourselves and the world around us. But then, how do we connect our past selves to our current self? And how do we envision the change from our current self to a future self? This is the role of storytelling, as we continually write and revise our masterwork as an autobiographical author. While memory itself is haphazard and prone to inaccuracies, we have a talent for finding the touchstones and connecting the key players and moments in our lives. As Erikson wrote, young men and women tend to, quote, selectively reconstruct their past, weaving what is called a narrative identity. Once plans are made and dots connected, this story is also subject to self-reflection and analysis through autobiographical reasoning. According to Adler, modifying one's life story is at the heart of many forms of psychotherapy and counseling, as well as religious conversions, vocational epiphanies, and other dramatic transformations. These three aspects, the social actor, the motivated agent, and the autobiographical storyteller, are key components to understand our identity, especially in how the self relates to others and its contextual environment.